The Styrian Grand Prix is kicking off this weekend. Let's do some predictions. Let's look ahead to this weekend in Austria. Let's start with qualifying. In pole position, I'm going to go with Mad Max yet again. Max Verstappen, that is correct. He's in fine form. He looks much more calmer. He looks comfortable. The car, of course, has improved, and that can only help with him this season. I do think the pace is still there with the Red Bull ahead of the Mercedes, and I think for qualifying, Max Verstappen will be on pole position. Cheeky prediction here, I think one of the McLarens is going to get into the top 4 in qualifying, meaning they'll be splitting either the Mercedes or the Red Bull, adding a little bit of spice. Unbelievable scenes, Jeff. We move on to who will not make it into Q3. Well, guess what? You want to hear something bold? Both Aston Martins. That is correct. Not because they're not good, but because the pace isn't really there. But strategy, I think they will deal with it in the race. I think they'll move higher up the grid. But I bet you that both Aston Martin drivers will not make it into Q3. We move on to the race, and on the podium in 3rd place, I kick things off with Lando Norris. That is correct. Remember this time last year? Well, not quite this time, but this circuit last year where he had an impressive result, finishing in 3rd. He did phenomenal here at the A1 ring, the Red Bull ring, Spielberg, whatever the hell they want to call it. Lando Norris has improved over the months, and in winter testing especially, he said that he was working very, very closely with the engineers. And my goodness, what a progression he has done from the last couple of years to where he is now. Remember how he started at McLaren, being sort of the understudy to Fernando Alonso, but look at him now. He's leading the pack ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Of course, this is his rookie year in McLaren for Ricciardo, but nonetheless, Lando Norris, you're impressing me every single weekend, and I hope to see you on the podium this weekend. 2nd place, Max Verstappen. That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. I do think Max Verstappen will have a decent race, and finishing 2nd is not necessarily a bad result, because at least he'll be collecting more points as the race goes on and as the season is going on, which is highly important. Consistency in the top 3 is important for Max Verstappen. Top 2 if he can be. But I do think that Max Verstappen, although, you know, the circuit might suit him a bit more, I just think that there's somebody else who's going to be in the wings there, who's going to be lurking and wanting to recover over the last couple of weeks. I can't imagine Red Bull having 4 race weekends where they have 4 wins in a row. I highly doubt it, because my winner, ladies and gentlemen, for this weekend, Sir Lewis Hamilton. That is correct. Why? Lewis Hamilton hasn't won a race in about 4 weekends. So we need to sort something out here, Mercedes, okay? And I just think Lewis Hamilton, I don't know, he's the guy. Do you remember last year at the Styrian Grand Prix, the qualifying that he did, the race that he did? My goodness, the guy was on fire, okay? And just when people doubted him, and just as they're doubting him maybe now, this is the moment where Lewis Hamilton comes out alive, he springs into action. And so I tell you what, Lewis Hamilton, I think, is going to put a marker down and say, hang on a minute, guys, let's pump the brakes, all you Red Bull lovers. I am still in this title race, and I think he's going to win the Styrian Grand Prix this weekend. Fastest lap, however, I'm going to give it to Max Verstappen, just because the pace, raw pace, is there. And I think if the race is conceded to Lewis Hamilton, Red Bull might pit Max Verstappen in, might have a big gap from 3rd place, and fling on some softs and burn out that lap, so he can gain an extra point still. So he's not too far behind Lewis Hamilton, even though he's ahead in the championship. You get what I mean. Who's going to be the first out, the first to DNF in this weekend's race? Guess what? Nikita Mazepin, because, well, it's been a while, and secondly, why not? Who will disappoint me this weekend? I tell you what, I could say Valtteri Bottas, but is there a point? Can I be asked to even bring him into this conversation? I don't think I can. So with that being said, Charles Leclerc. Not because you're a bad driver, not because you're not good enough. You're one of my favorites. I mean, I love you, Charles Leclerc. Let's be very, very clear. However, the Ferraris, I am very, very worried. I'm concerned because the inconsistency in the Ferrari, which will mean that they will fall way behind the McLaren, I think, towards the end of the season. And, you know, the French Grand Prix, you could say it was a bad day, but I'm sorry. P16 for Charles Leclerc, and then Carlos Sainz finishing outside of the points after they both qualified in the points. I'm worried. I don't think that's just a little mishap. I don't want to keep my eye off those 2 guys over there at Ferrari. So, unfortunately, because I want Charles to do well, and because I kind of expect better because he's really, really good, he is in a garbage car, it must be said. It's not garbage to the extent of last year, but I think anything was better than last year. And because they started off kind of decent, now we're going to be seeing them kind of like revert back to type. And of course, not a lot of upgrades will be happening this year across the board in all teams. So with that, I'm going to go with Charles Leclerc. Sorry, Charles. Keep an eye out for this one. The dark horse, if I can call him a dark horse, but keep an eye out for this car and for this team in general, by the way. Pierre Gasly and the AlphaTauri. I tell you what, They are looking good. The car is improving every single time. And Mr. Pierre Gasly, you have been consistent. You are Mr. Consistent this year. You've done phenomenal stuff this season. I am loving what I'm seeing from him. Ever since he first debuted in Formula One, look at the growth. Yes, he's had a few hiccups. Yes, he might have had a few hurdles. But my goodness, look at the bounce back. Look at what he's doing. I am in love with Pierre Gasly. I'm loving what I'm seeing. And the Honda engine is just looking, it's delish. It's looking really, really good with this AlphaTauri, alongside with the Red Bulls as well. And I don't know, I'm going to see Pierre Gasly, he's going to be bobbing and weaving in there. Probably top 5 finish, top 6 finish, who knows. But Pierre Gasly, I'm expecting good things from you this weekend. By the way, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button for more Formula One content just like this. In any other business, watch out for the Alfa Romeo's livery for this weekend. They've gone and given it a little bit of juice. I'll put a picture up there so you can have a look and see what your thoughts are on that. Not quite sure why for this race. I'm trying to work out what the connection between Austria and Alfa Romeo is. Whether it's just the flag and the colours, and they just thought, let's just spice it up a little bit. Let's mix it up. Because I'll tell you what, Alfa Romeo have been irrelevant, if I must say. Same as last year. Giovinazzi starts the race as well, jumps a few places, and then they all just seem to revert back to type. Kimi Raikkonen doing Kimi Raikkonen things, having a laugh, having a chilled out session, the Iceman that he is. But then at the same time, they needed to do something. And I think everybody was sick and tired of everybody talking about Red Bull and everything else. And yet it's time to talk about Alfa Romeo. So here you go, Alfa. This is your 10 seconds of fame. Could there be rain, ladies and gentlemen, this weekend? Remember last year, the downpour, the scenes, it was unbelievable stuff. It was exciting racing last year. Who knows, they've been talking about rain, and I know Formula One, you love to jinx the rain, don't you? The minute you start talking about the rain disappears. I'm sure God looks at Formula One and says, these guys think they're clever. I'm just gonna remove that rain and bring it to London instead after 5 days of heat wave. What's the matter with you F1 people? I'm not gonna blame God on this one, I'm gonna blame the F1 guys. Stop talking about rain and we might get some rain, okay? Just leave it there. Lastly, check out the Quick Stop F1 podcast. They done a preview ahead of this weekend's race. Hilarious episode, so make sure you go check those guys out. They had a special guest from there as well, from the Pit Stop Fracker, so make sure you get it locked. It's in the cars right there. Is it this side, is it that side, who knows? And of course, more importantly, what are your predictions ahead of this weekend's race? Let me know in the comments below who's going to win, who's going to be on pole, who's going to DNF first, who's going to be exciting, who's going to surprise you, what's going to happen, who goes out in Q3. Let me know, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Peter on pole. Looking forward to this weekend's race. Remember, we're in Austria 2 weekends in a row, so we're gonna have a bit of spice. Who knows what it's gonna be like? Remember last year, scenes, absolute scenes. So now we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, after the race, there'll be the top 3 drivers, the best drivers of the Austrian Styrian Grand Prix, and of course the worst drivers, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the top 10 facts of the Styrian Grand Prix. Make sure you keep it locked. With that said, people, lights out.